I mean, first of all, I have to say, you know, a terrible story, terrible attack that's happened in Sydney. I mean, I know the area well, CBD. I was there only a couple of Christmases ago, and, you know, a very vibrant place. And, of course, we know somebody has lost their life. But in amongst all this, your story is quite something else. Most people would get nowhere near this. They would probably just stay on the top floor where you were and watch from above. But something compelled you to get involved. Luke, tell us about that. What was the thinking behind that?
Yeah, well, I think, you know, it was... I heard the commotion, and I often hear stuff out the window, but this one was much different. I heard a loud screech and a scream from a woman, and then I opened the window, and as I looked out, I saw a man waving a knife, and he's on top of a car, he's covered in blood, talking gibberish, and it was at that point I could have either, you know, carried on watching, but I ran back in and I just said to Paul, and I said to Lee, I said, we've got to go, and even when we were in the lift on the way down, you know, my heart was pounding, and I thought, I hope he's still on the car. And I was just saying to the boys, I said, he's got a knife, he's covered in blood. Whatever happens, we've got to go for him and help the others out, really.
But that instinct, I think, is what's touched everybody, because it makes you heroes, because you're there up in your office. Nobody would have ever known. Nobody would have blamed you if you'd stayed there, maybe called the police, maybe tried to get evidence. But to run down into the affray and having seen somebody with a knife and blood is extraordinary. When you got outside, what did you do?
So as we got outside, we saw that he'd moved on then, and we were just following the commotion, and we're seeing people crying, and we sprinted. So it was myself and Paul that actually sprinted, and we could see which direction he'd gone in. And then we sprinted round and we finally caught up with him. It was just so sad to see people, everybody upset, and we're just glad that we could, you know, we could play our part and get there.
Absolutely amazing. Your mums and dads are back in Britain, aren't they? Have you had that phone call home where they go, what were you thinking? You're supposed to be keeping yourself safe.
Absolutely. I took that call with my mum. She was on her way to work, and I just explained. I said, Mum, I think there's been a sole attacker in Sydney, and myself and my brother have been part of kind of detaining this guy. And she's like, what on earth? Are you joking? Are you joking, Paul? And I was like, no, Mum, I'm being serious, but I've got to go because the police are here. They want to question me. And apparently she's just pulled over. She pulled over and you know, just got to the side and just obviously Googled it, and it was all over the world, really.
And Lee, tell us, I mean, at any point, were you not scared? Most people will be scared. They'll be worried that there is a guy with a knife, no idea what his motive is, what he's trying to do. Is he on his own? And there's you guys on the way down in a lift to try and approach him. Were you scared at any point?
You're not really thinking too much at all, to be honest with you, and these guys are actually a lot further ahead than I was, so I can't take too much credit at all. And it was actually me and my colleague Alex, we actually went another way because we saw a police officer get radioed in saying, look, it's that way, so we went round the other way. So it was just pretty chaotic all round. Very surreal, very surreal experience.
Yeah, and I also think like the Australian public, like what you pointed out, the fact that we were safe in the office, and Luke viewed it, and us as a trio, we didn't even question it. We're like, let's go and help if we can. And I suppose what's really uncanny about this whole situation, we had the conversation in the office, you know, the what if this happened, what would you do? And we said, what happens if somebody did come up the street, and this was only 3 months ago, wielding a knife? Specifically, which is really weird and something, you know, and we all said that we'd help if we can. We're quite physical guys. And we also said, what if that person had a gun? And, you know, to be quite honest with you, we said we'd stay put. Yeah. But because Luke said, I think he's got a knife, you know, we were down there and, wow, you know, Luke's playing it down a little bit.
Well, that's a fantastic thing.
You know,
I've got to ask you about one image we're all curious about. Is at one point he was held down with a beer crate on his head. What was that about?
Yeah,
was that just something that was handy to just chuck on top? How did that come about?
Exactly. Well, that was at a cafe, and I think it was another guy that needs to take the plaudits for that. But that was at a cafe, and we helped obviously restrain the guy with the beer crates and the chairs as well. I just think, you know, none of us had any weapons. The New South Wales Police was unbelievable when they got when they got on the scene. It was unreal, and then that's where I helped as well when they came on the scene. he actually, the suspect actually reached and he wasn't for giving his right hand up. So we had to really force him to do that, and we was unsure whether he was going for a knife, a button, anything like that. It was that was it, and then it really hit home afterwards. But as we've told everybody in this, that when we're looking down at the suspect, we kind of had a little bit of an empathy for him as well. You know, he was talking a lot of gibberish, but we realised that this is someone that's got real bad mental health, and you know, we were wondering how this has happened, and you know, if there are any other suspects with him, all that kind of stuff, really. So it was.
Yeah, there's always something deeper
very
in
surreal.
these situations, isn't there? But I mean, well done to you. I know that you pay tribute to the police there; they pay tribute to you, and the Prime Minister has as well. So it's fantastic. You're a great advert for Brits abroad.
Yeah.
Yeah, thank you.
Hopefully.
Hopefully, you know, we just want to kind of get on with our lives now a little bit. We've got to go back to work. We've got a big backlog of work. We haven't done anything for 2 or 3 days.
We've obviously not
You know,
slept. We've not
you know,
slept or anything.
You know,
so.
I just want to say, you know, we have found out there's a victim to all of this, of course.
Quite.
And, you know, that seen a name, we've seen pictures, and that just really makes it sad. But I think the New South Wales Commissioner gave me a personal call yesterday just to thank our efforts really to kind of helping, you know, other casualties not happen. So we would, like I say, we were just, you know, a trio of several people that helped on the day, but we're just happy that we could do it, and we'd do it again,
Brilliant.
like we
and
said.
I'm glad that you were safe too, because it doesn't always end well. People get involved. So it's a good story, and well done to you.
Thank you very much, Lee, Luke,
thank
and
you.
Paul in Sydney. Yeah, I mean, worth saying, there was obviously firemen as well involved. I was worried with these kind of stories that it's fantastic, but it shouldn't necessarily encourage people to get involved.
Take on a knife. I don't know. The advice is always run, hide, call for help, isn't it?
In
But
this
they
circumstance.
did brilliantly in those circumstances.